World's at a tipping point where only the fit will survive.
There is nowhere for me to be me.
The time for change is now.
The idea originated about 6 years ago. My son was 3, and me and him were playing Ninja Turtles. He was dressed up as a Ninja Turtle, and we were just sort of fighting with spatulas and, you know, kitchen equipment. And then at the end of that, I was sort of wanted to create like a Aboriginal superhero that he could connect to. You know, he loves his pop culture, and you know, and I want to keep, you know, teaching him more about his own culture. So I wanted to combine the two, so he could, you know, be in the backyard and, you know, reenacting a Cleverman or the creatures or whatever we create, and just to give him the strength to own who he is personally. It was originally a kids show. I pitched it to Goldpost Pictures as a kids show called Dreamtime Detectives, and the more that we sort of delved into the dreaming stories, the more that we realised that we had to age it up, because a lot of the dreaming stories are quite brutal and you can't really put them in a kid's world. So it slowly got aged up until we reached the adult market, and that's where it really fit, and it's where we could take the politics into a whole new level. I think the world for me it's huge. It's a huge world, and you're dealing with the culture that's massive as well. So I think if you try and cram it into a 2-hour film, you sort of miss a whole lot. Where once you put it into a television environment, and if, you know, fingers crossed it becomes popular, you can extend on that world and really push the boundaries, I think. And television sort of reached that point. I think we're kind of in the golden age of television right now, where, you know, people are accessing it so much more, and stories are being pushed to different levels, and we really wanted to push our story. For me, it's entering those elements allows you to throw a blanket over all your political statements that you want to. You allow the audience to sort of accept things a lot easier, you know, because they're already going in with the concept, the idea of that this is, you know, a genre of, you know, sci-fi or magical elements. When you lace some of that with political issues, they kind of don't realise that they're being taught something at the same time. You know, we didn't want to create a show that was purely a black and white issue, and that's where our creatures sort of played a major role, because we could hide a lot of that and allow our audience to choose what political issue they want to follow throughout our story. The first question I got asked when we were doing this is, are we going to create a language for the hairies? And I was like, no, absolutely not. I think for us, here's an opportunity to put our language on screen on a bigger scale. You know, we have people out there speaking Elvish and Klingon fluently, and they're made up languages, and we have our languages dying in this country. So if we can put it in there and we make a show that's universal, and people want to learn more about it, they have to go to, you know, reach out to the community. The community has to create a Bible. You know, it helps keep the language alive, and that was a major part for us. I guess for me, I'd say it's the same timeline. I think, you know, a lot of the stories that you hear from community, or you know, I remember an elder once, you know, talking about a street that had, you know, KFC, it had Woolies, all these big, you know, shopping complexes, and he's saying, you know, this is you know, traditional sacred land. He's like, doesn't matter what you put on top of it, it's still there. And I think our world is very much like that. You know, the hairy creatures, you know, in our world are, you know, said to be here longer, you know, longer than 60,000 years. You know, and they're only just making themselves shown. So I think what excites me is that we have the potential to create quite a big universe around the Cleverman world, that we've created and still keep it quite similar to the world we live in. It's meant to be just quite urban. I think, you know, we didn't want to show Australia that is stereotypical. We didn't want to show the red desert. We didn't want to show the golden beaches. You know, like we didn't want to show the Opera House or the Sydney Harbour Bridge. It was a world that we wanted to make ours. You know, and that was through the whole process. We always wanted to look at how we're making this new. You know. The cast, you know, our cast, they're all skilled, but some of them haven't had as much screen time on television as others, and giving them that shot made it different as well, you know. So it was constantly looking at elements like that just made it new and different.